Snow Queen. Once upon a time, there was an evil troll who made a very nasty mirror. In this mirror, you could only see all ugly and bad things. Even beautiful things looked very ugly in this mirror. One day, the troll took his mirror high up into the sky, but there it broke into countless pieces, which spread all over the world. Anyone who accidentally got a splinter in his eye could only see the bad things. If you got a shard of mirror in your heart turned into ice. How terrible! But the evil troll loved it. At this time, a boy and a girl lived in a big city. They lived in two houses opposite each other and played together every day. They especially loved looking at the beautiful rose bushes together. Kai and Gerda also loved listening to their grandmother's stories. One day, Kai's grandmother told them about the Snow Queen. She flies between all the snowflakes and makes everything freeze beautifully. The children listened breathlessly to the story. One day, Kai and Gerda were sitting outside when Kai suddenly felt something pierce his eye and heart. They don't know it, but these are the splinters from the magic mirror. From that moment on, Kai doesn't like anything anymore and is mean to everyone. He destroys the roses and says that snowflakes are prettier than flowers. Then he takes his sledge to the big square in town. Here he sees a beautiful big white sled. He ties his little sled to it and disappears out of town. Kai soon regretted his decision. It got colder and colder, and soon he could not see his hand in front of his face because of the dense snow. But every time he tried to free his little sled, the person sitting on the big sled nodded at Kai and he stayed put. After a long time, they suddenly stopped. "Come and sit warmly next to me, boy," said a woman's voice. And when Kai came closer, he saw that this was the Snow Queen. He sat down next to her, and she gave him a kiss on the forehead. It was colder than anything Kai had ever felt, but immediately he felt the cold no longer. He had also immediately forgotten Gerda, his grandmother, and his life in the city. Meanwhile, Gerda was terribly sad. Where had Kai gone? Nobody could tell her. Gerda cried every day for months, until spring came and she decided to look for Kai. First, she went to the river, but here she did not find Kai. Then she came to an old lady with a beautiful flower garden. The woman wanted to keep Gerda and bewitched her, but after a while, Gerda managed to escape. Meanwhile, it was autumn again. Oh, how long Kai had been gone! Sometime later, when it was already winter, Gerda met a crow. He told her that he might have seen Kai in the castle. He knew a tame crow in the palace who could help her get in. Gerda sneaks into the bedroom of the prince and princess, and for a moment she thinks she has found Kai again. But then the prince turns his head, and she sees that it is not her friend at all. The prince and princess wake up, and Gerda tells her story. They take pity on her and give her beautiful clothes and a small carriage with which she can continue her search. For a long time, Gerda rode around the world in her carriage. One day, she's attacked by a robber woman and her little daughter. The daughter decides she wants to take Gerda home, and she does. In the robber's den, there are a couple of pigeons. One of them says, "I have seen little Kai. He is with the Snow Queen." "I know where the Snow Queen lives," said the reindeer that is also in the den. The robber girl wants to help Gerda and gives her the reindeer. "You two go to Lapland and rescue Kai." Gerda and the reindeer have to travel a long way. On the way, they see the wondrous northern lights in the sky. At one point, they come to a small house. Here lives a Lapland woman who is willing to help Gerda. She writes a message on a stick and sends it to a Finnish woman. They arrive there after a long time. The Finnish woman can do magic, but says that Gerda doesn't need anything extra to save Kai. Then she tells them where they can find the snow palace of the Snow Queen. Meanwhile, Kai is trapped in the castle of the Snow Queen. Only if he can make the world eternity out of large blocks of ice will he be free. But no matter how hard he tries, he never succeeds. Then, suddenly, he sees Gerda running towards him. He doesn't recognize her, but she flies around his neck and starts crying. Her warm tears make his frozen heart thaw, and the shard of glass disappear. Then, Kai starts to cry too, and the shard washes out of his eye. Together, they quickly put the ice cubes away and go home. It is a long way home, and on the way they get help from everyone who had helped Gerda before. Eventually, Gerda and Kai arrive back in town together. When they walk in the door of the house, they notice that they have become grown-ups, but in their hearts they are still the same two little children.